Hey guys, welcome back. We've got Mike Bledsoe with us today. We're super excited, and I wanted to make sure that Carl jumped back on with us because we want to walk through Mike's I'm calling it the ascent because he's done so many different projects, and I'm so intrigued by what he's built out there, particularly in health and fitness. But I don't actually know much about what happened prior to the Barbell Shrug Day, so I'd love for him to kind of walk us through that and then where he got to Strong First today and how he's building the life that he wants to live. And I'm trying to interpret that the right way, Mike. And then we're going to talk about a couple pieces on what coaches, fitness practitioners, gym owners can do during this COVID-19. Let's call it a crisis. And we're not going to speculate on what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. We're just going to talk about some pieces that people could be doing now and building more success as we kind of start to come out of this at some point. So Mike, would you do us a favor, just quick introduction, and then we'll kind of pick through the background a little bit?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll say for the people who don't know who I am, I opened up a CrossFit gym I served in the Navy, got out, got into exercise sports science, got in the sport of weightlifting. I thought I wanted to open a weightlifting gym. I knew I was going to be broke if I did that, but I loved it. And I was going to do it anyway, because I did not think about business. That was not my first thought when it came to pursuing my passion. Saw CrossFit introduced to me by one of my buddies who's a Navy SEAL. And I go, he comes to town, does CrossFit. He wants me to teach him some weightlifting to make him better at that. I see the first CrossFit workout was like a fight gone bad he was doing. I said, that looks stupid. I will never do that. Then fast forward, I find out that CrossFit's fun, open a CrossFit gym in 2007, do that until I ran that gym until 2013-ish. And then, but in 2012, I started a podcast that really blew up in the fitness and nutrition. We were ranked number one rated number one on iTunes for years for fitness and nutrition category. That doesn't mean you're always ranked at the very, very top. We were always in the top 10, but we had like the most 5-star reviews and all that kind of mess. Did Barbell Shrug until about 2 years ago, took a break. And when I was running Barbell Shrug, I had online training programs for athletes that were basically goal-specific training programs where CrossFitters could still be doing CrossFit, but be going after a goal that wasn't general fitness. Mm-hmm. And so, which was a new concept in 2012, 2013 when we introduced it. Ran that for a number of years, ran a company called Barbell Business where we helped gym owners because we'd figured out how to run gyms pretty well. And we ran that, we partnered with a software company. We offered marketing automation software for a number of years. Had that blow up in my face, ended up in like legal things, it's one of those things where I was looking for the cameras. It had gotten so bad. I was like, am I being punked right now? And I always, the way I ran business, I was like, I'll never run into a problem like this because I'm always on the up and up. And that wasn't true. And then, so 2 years ago, took a long break, took what I thought was going to be at least a 1-year sabbatical, came back, started the Strong Coach, where I started helping coaches build their coaching businesses. So general overview, that's basically kind of like my ascension, but the general, like, if you don't know who I am, that's what's happened really over the years. I've been in entrepreneurship for going on 13 years now. It started with opening the CrossFit gym in 2007, simply because I did the thing. And there's two things I noticed. I love doing these workouts with my friends. It is more fun than weightlifting. And I can see how this might help my jiu-jitsu better than weightlifting. And then I also thought people are going to want to do CrossFit. They're not going to really want to do weightlifting. They'll want to do CrossFit. So I go, I'll open a CrossFit gym. And so that's really how it started.
So one of the things that, because you and I had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and we kind of got into the weeds and some really fun conversations. And I view you as sort of a seeker of information and a seeker of really, really good people in different areas to have conversations with, to look to partner with. So when you're building Strong Coach, for example, what are you looking to build structurally on the business side? This is a little bit of a selfish question for me because I'm always so curious about this, but like, what do you want to build and who do you want to build it with?
Well, there's two parts. There's my internal business that I'm building. And what's really cool about what we're building is because we're a coaching business we're selling how to build a coaching business. So basically everything that it's allowing me to go deep in a way that I was not able to go before. So everything I'm building internally, I'm telling my people how to do it as well. So it's like internal, external, and then as I'm coaching them, I have this thing I say, which is the words that are coming out of my mouth aren't for you, they're for me. And I like to start off conversations with people that way so that it's just me saying that as a reminder that as I'm teaching, I'm learning. Because it's so easy to see what's happening for somebody else. Like, oh, obviously you should be doing this. And I was like, oh, am I doing that? No, I'm not. I go implement that in my business and I go, that worked really well.
That is so true, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just really quick, man, what is the Strong Coach? So it's like, if I was a gym owner and I wanted to hire you, why would I come? What am I looking for?
The people that come to us are coaches who they love coaching, and they've likely realized that they're not making the money they want to make. They realize that they're working themselves to the bone. They don't get vacations. Maybe they're starting a family and go, oh shit. Or they've been working a corporate gig and coaching on the side. And then over time are realizing, oh, what I really want is the full-time coach. And I even get people who just want to be a better part-time coach. And a lot of times they're like, I just want to be a better part-time coach. They get in the program and then a month in they go, I want to be a full-time coach. I'm quitting my job. I'm like, good for you. So, a lot of people come to us when they want to make it a career and they want it to be sustainable. And the message I put out is the way to a sustainable business that pays well is not hustle and grind. Yeah, there are moments where you have to put in the work, no doubt about it. We all do. But coming from that place all the time is poor leadership and as a health and fitness expert, in my opinion, because if you're hustling and grinding all the time, you're not taking care of yourself. How can you expect your clients to take care of themselves? And so that's what I do. So, but the tagline that we normally go with is build a 6 and 7 figure coaching business. So if you're interested in building a 6-figure coaching business, you're doing 100K plus a year, we can help you get there. If you want to go to 7 figures after you hit the 6-figure, or you're already at 6-figure and want to go 7 figures, we have a program for that too. So it depends on, I can only take people where I've gone. So I've taken people to those points and I've gone there myself. And so, and I'm still learning all the time how to do that, because the way I did it in 2013, 2014 is different than the way it's done in 2020.
Isn't that interesting how, because I felt the same way. I, was in a hedge fund until 2010, got super intrigued by the idea of CrossFit after trying it, opened another gym, and then 2014 sold those gyms to come down to OPEX, and now it's 2020. I'm like, I didn't know anything in 2010. It's like not a thing. But if you would have asked me back then, I would have said, oh yeah, I did that hedge fund thing, and so I'm really good at this. I didn't know anything. How do you reconcile for yourself or for your coaches knowing that they're going to have that 5, 10, 15-year learning curve? And how do you start to prepare them for that? Because I've noticed that a lot of coaches, and I know a lot of this is marketing related, but a lot of coaches think that they can do a really quick piece of education and they just got it. They just immediately are going to be successful. So how do you prepare them for that long-term journey, even if they do have some early success?
We talk about the hero's journey early in the program, first module when someone comes in. So what we offer is a 90-day program. And then after that, if they want to continue in, they can jump into an annual mastermind where we go deeper with them. And so I love this question because this is bringing into light something I've been looking at is how do we, a percentage of our people ascend into continuing to want to work and build something bigger. And a lot of people, they get the satisfaction. They go, well, I just learned this and it made everything better. And you know what? Just leave me alone for a little while. I don't want to keep going. I think I got what I need, or I just need 6 months to like focus on this thing that I just learned. And yeah, I got some results, but yeah, I do believe a lot of people are satisfied with, they get one chunk and they go, okay, that felt good. I got my dopamine hit that I was searching for. But I talk about the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell, the call to action, the going through hell and coming out and redeeming yourself and all this stuff. And I really highlight for people that you have many hero's journeys in your life. You're going to go through one, and then there'll be another one and be another one. And it's a common conversation that there's levels and layers to this game. And, I may learn about pricing, or I might learn about how to create an offer or something like that. But there's the initial, this is how it goes. And then, by the way, in a year from now, you're going to be doing this completely different. The big thing that we're noticing in our community right now is a lot of people are, because of COVID-19, a lot of people have had to pivot quickly. And when I say pivot is they have had to pivot what they offer to a degree, but the marketing has had to pivot to even a greater degree. And so what's happening is the fears and pains that are coming up for their clients are bubbling up in a new way, or a more apparent way. And I went to everybody and I said, hey, this is a perfect time to go interview your clients and refine your offer or change your offer. If you look at my website right now, we're changing it this week back to more typical marketing copy, but we burned the COVID-19 coronavirus thing to the ground. And all of our copy was about pivoting your coaching business in 48 hours so that you can, survive, or whatever you want to call it. And we pivoted that, and we had all of our clients go to your existing clients. What has changed for them? Their goals may have just shifted. And so, which means that if you're seeing a trend in the way your client's attention is being placed, now we need to change our marketing copy. What you say in your social media needs to change. What your website says needs to change. All these things need to change. And so that's something that I don't remember the question that was posed, but now I'm talking. I'm talking about this, but this also ties into teaching what I'm learning. Like going back to the other question, which was, I'm telling everybody, it's like, you need to go do this. And then I go, oh, I haven't done this yet with my own clients. And what I noticed is the people who had really good relationships with their clients were able to pivot easily. It was just like, oh, I already know what's going on. I'm going to do some interviews because Mike said so, but I got a pretty good beat on it, and the interviews help. And then for me, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like with my mastermind clients, the people who are closest to me, I'm meeting with them every week. I'm having phone conversations with all the time. I got a beat on where they're at. And I'm doing interviews all week, where I'm sitting down with each client for about 90 minutes and going, okay, what's changed for you? And going, okay. And a huge gift this has brought is because my interaction with all my clients went up, and a lot of their fears bubbled to the surface much more readily than normal. Our marketing has improved. I don't even know how much. I know that all of our traffic is up. We've been changing things, and there's just been a lot more action. But I'm walking out of this and I go, oh, I knew that my website copy was pretty good before, but now I know exactly what to say because of this.
I think, go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, just a quick question. I think we all know the downfalls of this thing, right? Like, or we think we know what the downfalls of this virus or pandemic or crisis, as Jim called it earlier, can be. But where are you seeing opportunity here, and what are you telling your coaches to do and people within your mastermind? Like, what's your advice? I know that you hit the interview piece and have more interviews and relationships. Something very, by interview, I think you're saying consultation, same thing.
Yeah, and it depends on the coach and the client and how their relationship's been in the past. But I'm a big fan of going. We teach a goal setting process. We go do a goal setting process, like a consultation, something like that, where it's both coaching them and gathering information at the same time.
Cool. And then where are you seeing opportunities in this? Like, what are you telling your people and your coach to go and hit this really hard right now, because this is an opportunity?
Yeah. So I'm witnessing for a lot. There's some background noise that's a little distracting for me. Yeah. Thanks. So what I'm witnessing for the gym owners, I'll talk about this, is there's two different types of gym owners that I'm witnessing right now. And even people in our programs, we have the one gym owner who's been selling gym memberships. And this pivot has been very difficult for them. They don't identify nearly as much as a coach as they do a gym owner. And if they do identify as a coach, their definition of coach is, I provide a space for people to train. I'm a good cheerleader. I can write workouts. Okay. And so those particular coaches and gym owners are struggling because they don't know, they never did build the relationship with the clients at the depth necessary. So when the clients are experiencing stress, that's not the person they go to. That's the person they go to for good times, for community, but not to solve their problem. And so there's a lot of gyms out there where they're selling good times and community, but they're not really helping the clients move towards a specific result. Or they're like providing the features, the gym and workouts, and they're leaving it up to the client to decide what they think a good result, like what will get them the results. So it's like, it's like the clients that show up for anything that's cardio based, but don't want to show up for strength training. And if you're a coach, you're just like, let them do whatever they want, then like you're not really coaching them. The clients are coaching themselves inside this box that you created. Those coaches are having a really hard time, and a lot of them got a wake-up call and got slapped in the face, and now they're trying to pay attention. What I've noticed is they've tried to start the relationship with their clients on a deeper level during this time, and they're having a hard time because when people are stressed, they're going to pull in. People in our culture are not conditioned to ask for support. We're conditioned to lone wolf it. And so that's what people are doing is the only people they're going to open up to is people they were opening up to previously. Now there's a caveat to this. And that is, unless you nail the marketing, unless you nail the messaging, and you still have to overcome everyone's preconceived notion of who you were before this moment that is existing right now. And so it can be done. I've witnessed it happen. I have witnessed people take their entire gym business online and then get members outside of their region. So I have one client, she's in Jordan, and she was able to move. She only had a third of her clients move from online to a remote class structure. And Jordan's funny because the way their laws are built is they can't actually do subscriptions. People actually have to write a check, bring in cash, or send a PayPal every single month. So imagine trying to run a gym, without being able to do that. So she moved her business online, and there were 2/3 of her clients basically were showing up for the workouts. A third of her clients she had built a really good relationship with. They stayed. She started delivering online in a way that was better than what was happening in person. And because she was going online, people who had been following her on Instagram from the United States, Canada, Germany, all these different countries are now joining her program. So now she's almost up to the same membership base as she was when she was running a gym, doesn't have that overhead, and is doing it online. So she had a goal at one point to have more freedom. And part of having freedom for her was having a gym, having an online revenue source. And so a really big opportunity is it's pushed a lot of gym owners who were considering doing an online function. It's pushed them and sped up the timeline. Like, this is just the way I see this COVID-19 situation is it's just speeding up the timeline, and the speed is jarring and it's uncomfortable for most people. That's all it is. And so one of the biggest opportunities I see here is the gyms. I mean, how many coaches come to you guys and go, man, how do you stand out? How do I differentiate myself from the rest of the bros out there? And it's like, yeah, man, it really comes down to how well you're solving the problems for your clients, right? Can you deliver on that? How good is your messaging around that? And so, and is your product actually different, or is what, I ask coaches all the time, what makes you different? They go, my gym's different because of the coaching and the community. I'm like, yeah, everybody just said that. Like, that's actually not different. So I see a huge opportunity to build online programs for their clients. So if you're a gym owner, you can come in and you build an online, something that, look, you got to be thinking about value. How do I create value for my clients? So much value that they don't even think about how much they're paying for it. They go, wow, every time I spend money with this coach, I get more value than I give them in dollars. That's what keeps a client. And so if you can deliver nutrition programs, if you can start delivering things and creating curriculum or whatever it is, you interview the clients, you find out what it is that they want, and then you figure out how to deliver that online. And so say 6 weeks go by and we get to go back in our gyms and we get to do all that. Well, you've built this whole entire online platform. So it's a huge opportunity because now your gym's going to actually stand apart. So gym owner 1 or gym owner A, he goes out and builds an online platform that is able to service clients and this and that, and is largely automated and systemized and all this. And then gym owner B goes, you know what, I'm just going to sit back and wait. I'm going to sit back and wait and just like cross my fingers, make sure to fill out my forms to get money from the government, all this kind of stuff. And 6 weeks from now, gyms open back up. Well, this one has this online platform. So when I'm shopping for a gym, I walk in to go, oh, by the way, you've access to this online platform where there's accountability, habits. There's this nutrition program we built, and it's going to be delivered to your email. You're going to get something from us all the time. We're going to hold you accountable, and they build out this system. This is where a huge opportunity exists, is while a gym owner is not in the gym, obviously gym owners are doing things like painting the walls of their gym, improving the space, all that kind of stuff. But what are you doing to improve the value in and out of the gym? Because when I was running a gym, that was my biggest complaint is, great, I got these people for an hour a day or 3 days a week, but they're screwing up their results the other 23 hours of the day. Well, there's a big opportunity to get into other areas of their life. So for gym owners, I see that as the huge opportunity. For the people who are already online and doing things online, another huge opportunity, because people are dissatisfied with, or not dissatisfied, but they're missing what they were getting in the gym. And most gyms aren't providing a good solution outside. Some gym owners are doing what I'm talking about, and the members are like, between the loyalty factor, if you're a gym owner, you get some leeway here. Your online shit can suck a little bit right now because your gym members are loyal to you because they like you. That's all it is. They like you. That's it. And because they like you, you're going to get away with some stuff you wouldn't get away with if they didn't exist already. So you get to build that out. Now, if you're already online, what's going to happen is in 2-3 months, if if people can't go back in the gym, and I bet a lot of people are doing online and home workouts where they're like, I don't know if I'm going to go back to the gym. What we're seeing is a huge spike in online training right now. And so if someone's already online, what are you doing to capture the people that are dissatisfied with their gym experience? How many people at 24-hour fitness were perfectly happy doing what they were doing, but now they're like, well, I got to work out. I need, I don't have the equipment. I actually don't know what to do. I don't know what to do when I don't have, these machines. It's like, okay, great. All you need is like a couple books and a water bottle or a jug or, one kettlebell or something.
When you're thinking about that, Mike, Sean Greeley said similar things where he goes, you always have to increase value. You always got to decrease barrier. When you think about adding value in the online space, whether you're a gym owner or somebody who's already online, what do you consider the biggest value points to these clients right now?
Well, I just ask them. I mean, it's going to be different for different groups of people. So someone who's used to coaching people on nutrition may be experiencing, and they're dealing with 45 to 50-year-old women primarily. Like their ad value is going to be different than the 25 to 35-year-old male CrossFitter. So it's really hard to say. I do know that people are experiencing a lack of community, and I'm really it's something I didn't predict to the degree in which it's happening, is that people are they just want to hang out with people who they like. And so I'm watching a lot of these gym owners where, they're coming on 10 minutes before, if they're hosting a class on Zoom or something, they're coming on 10 minutes early, staying 10 minutes late, and everyone's kind of hanging out and talking and all that kind of stuff. I had one guy, they do trivia night every Thursday night. So it's not fitness related, not health related at all, just providing community in some way. And it's a huge success. It's a huge success. So, it's one of those things where it's partly just listening to your clients and seeing what they want, but also taking some, if you've been interacting with your clients, I'm like, I bet they like this. Let me throw that out there. And it's important to not get too attached to your own ideas. I think that happens a lot. It's like, oh, my precious this or my precious that. And they want, like, it's like, people don't want your precious thing. It's like, oh shit, now I got to let this thing go. I have a lot of people that come in that have, they just got a new certification and they're like, or they created something. I've either created this really unique method or concept, or I just got this really cool certification, which I think is the best certification in the world. And now that's going to be the main thing I post on my website. I'm going to tell people, you're going to get this type of training. Like we train people in how to use language and story work and work with people through identity and like really deep psychological stuff. And people are like, well, now I just want to be a story coach. Or I'm like, no. It's just a tool. We gave you a tool. Just put it in the tool bag and only use it when you have to. Stop trying to it's not all a fucking nail here. So it's like people are like, well, I don't want to coach weight loss. I have all these weight loss clients. I don't want to coach weight loss anymore because I learned this new thing that's even better. It's like, whoa. The result is still weight loss. And you just have another tool to help them get there faster or more smoothly or whatever. So I dropped the F-bomb. I don't know if that's okay on here or not.
It's all good, Mike. We're not worried about that here. For the people that are, well, let me ask a better question. Are you noticing types of coaches and gym owners that are taking the bull by the horns and other types who are not? So one of the things that I'm seeing is, like you said, some people are going online, and like your client in Jordan, she sounds like she already was doing a lot of commentary and engagement with an audience around the world, and now she's monetizing that audience. For the people who aren't, what are you telling them to get their asses in gear, frankly? Because I'm with you. I think if they just sit back on this thing, and I'm not saying they have to be online coaches per se, but if they just sit back, they're going to miss the whole boat. So what are you saying to them to get them going in the right direction?
No, I'm not that interested in trying to get people going. I actually, by the way, we also have clients that didn't lose a single member and went online. And the ones that have the easiest transition are the ones that were acting like coaches before this whole thing went down. It was like, no big deal. I have one client that actually he's sitting back, and he was trying to pivot out. He was going to sell his gym ahead of time anyway. So this happening kind of like, it really threw him off. And so for him, I'm like, you know what? You could work, or you could just sit back and wait and see what happens. And maybe you lose it all. And what I'm looking at with him is what's his 10-year vision? What do you want your life to be like in 5 or 10 years? And what's happening right now that's impacting that? And with his 5-year, 10-year vision, it has nothing to do with the gym. And it doesn't even have anything, like he's ready to move away from the region, and he wants to start a whole new different type of coaching business. And for him, I'm like, yeah, I was on the phone with him for 90 minutes yesterday. And I go, you know what? You're the only person I'm giving this advice to, but yeah, sit back and chill out. And he's had a lot of training, but I look at it, I go, is it worth the emotional stress? Is it worth you grinding away on something that you don't love anymore? Is it worth it, all this, so that you can get an extra $50,000 valuation out of your business when you could be putting your attention on something else? And really, we ended the call with, how much joy can you experience during quarantine? And he was just like, oh, I was like, yeah, man, like, it doesn't sound like you really want to do this. So I don't want you to, I'm all about put the work in when you have a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for it, the world is changing dramatically right now. And where people's attention is after this is going to be different. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunity that pops up. And I do see that there is some value to sit back and watch. And like I said, for the coaches, like trying to get their ass in gear, I'm like, look, if you don't love your clients enough to figure out how to help them solve their problems and be the leader of that community, then don't do it. Like, you probably were, like I said, this is speeding up timelines. If you find yourself disinterested, if you find yourself not knowing what to do, all this kind of stuff, it may be time just to sit back. Well, not knowing what to do a lot of times, it's not knowing what to do is either a pattern. A lot of people just, when stress hits, the thought runs through their head, I don't know what to do. And it blocks them. And if they would just, it's not this simple, but quick little triggers like, oh, but if you did know, it's like, oh, okay, well, if I did know, old NLP trick, but like, if I did know, what would it be? Oh, and then all of a sudden the answers come in. Or they need to hire a coach or a consultant or something, someone that says, do this step, then do this step, do this step. And so for the I don't know crowd, there's that. But sometimes the I don't know is really hiding what's going deeper, which is, I don't really want to be doing this, but I'm afraid of what people will think about me if I walk away from it or I quit or whatever. And I mean, dude, I was in the CrossFit community long enough and mixed up with enough gym owners to realize that the majority of gym owners, they really, they could be doing something else and be happier. And they don't want to let people down, and they feel the weight of the world on their shoulders and all that. So if you're a coach walking around with that, then, it's not really doing anyone any favors, and you're probably making your life a lot harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, really well said. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, Mike, when did the decision to, because it seems like you've done a lot of different things. You were in the Navy, then you went to school, and then you're like, the weightlifting deal, CrossFit came along, you guys had major success with Barbell Shrugged, and now you are where you are. Those things are just so different, right? It's like, it seemed very coach coach specific in the beginning, and then you were still in that world with Barbell Shrugged, and now you're like business coaching coaches. When did that shift happen? Was that during the Barbell Shrug days? Was that before that? Like, how did you get to where you are now?
So I was a reluctant entrepreneur. So my dad owned his own business, and I remember watching him really suffer through not being able to market or manage money very well. And I told myself, I'm never going to own my own business. That lifestyle sucks. He works sundown. I see my friends' parents getting home at a decent hour and making better money, more consistent money. It's like 1 year we were great. The next year we were poor. And I looked at it and I go, man, I don't want to do that. The thing is we think we are making choices in our lives, but usually we're just following the patterns that our parents installed at a young age. So of course I'm going to follow my dad's footsteps, even though I was being rebellious. And so I went in the Navy thinking, oh yeah, I'm not going to own my own business. I'm not, because what's funny is growing up, a lot of my friends said I was going to end up in the same thing. He's like, oh, you're going to be like your dad. I'm like, nope, not going to be like him at all. Screw that guy, and I just had so much passion to own a gym. I was like, man, I have found so much satisfaction in weightlifting and CrossFit. And I so much satisfaction. And I went to find the gym that was in town, and it didn't exist because it was 2007. So I go, all right, well, I guess I'll open it. But I didn't treat it like a business at all. And it took about 1.5 years of me burning myself out and then taking in a business partner who's Doug Larson, who ended up being my co-host on Barbell Shrug. And he came in and goes, oh, we should check out these internet marketing videos that I ripped off of Pirate Bay. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. I'll check that out. And you know what? We started doing some internet marketing for the business, and we started tracking things and doing things that a business should be doing. And I hated it. I was, in my mind, I go, this is a necessary evil. This is bullshit. Like I should just be able to open my doors and like provide a good service and everything else take care of itself. I'm that good, my ego, man. I was an egomaniac. Maybe I still am. I don't know. The conversation goes on, but I ended up realizing that being bad at business was the thing that was keeping me from having the greatest impact. And it was around 2012, we started Barbell Shrug, and I did it just because I saw a need in the market. So the majority of my behavior in business comes from, there's a need in the market. I see a gap, and I'm not someone who rushes in and goes, I should be the one that does this. It usually starts with, I wonder who's doing this. Like, I'm looking online. Like, I was looking for a strength and conditioning podcast that I really liked. I didn't find anything. I was like, huh. So I sat on it for a month. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to do it. Oh, got it. And so as time goes on, I'm quicker to pick up on the idea that I'm supposed to do it. But it was 2013. The podcast was awesome. But and it allowed me to have a much greater impact than running a gym, where I was impacting 150 to 200 clients at a time in a gym. And then the podcast got a lot of, I'd say I don't remember exactly what our download numbers were after 1.5 years in, but 1.5 years in, I'm still asking my question of like, how do I have an impact? What's the greatest impact we can make? It's like, okay, let's do online coaching. But as I asked myself that question more, more and more of my attention had to go towards business, because I had to run a solid business to have a big impact. And then when I learned what entrepreneurship really was, I fell in love with it. And the way I look at entrepreneurship is, one version of a definition might be, entrepreneurs take something or many things and they combine it to create something of greater value. Whatever. That's a nice business school way of talking about entrepreneurship. But what I realized, when I realized that entrepreneurs solve problems, I go, oh, I'm a self-appointed problem solver. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you own your own business, you're a self-appointed problem solver. And you are like, even the gym owner who just wanted to open a gym, like I was a problem solver. I didn't even know it. I was solving the problem that there was not a CrossFit gym in the town yet, and people needed that. And a lot of gym owners, they were part of another gym, and they're like, screw this gym, I can do it way better. It's like, yeah, this person is approaching it from, there's a problem and I'm going to solve it. And so when I realized, I was like, oh, I'm a problem solver. My job is to solve problems. And then when I combine that with what's the biggest impact I can make, I started asking myself the question of, what's the biggest problem I could solve? What's the most valuable problem I could solve with my skill set, with my background? And when I look at the world and I see people's complaints about how it could be better or what they want to be different, how can I solve that problem? And so that's when I fell in love with business. And that's when I was like, I want to help gym owners. I started Barbell Business in like late 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. Started that podcast, created a product for it and all that kind of stuff. And so I went from hating business, never wanting to be an entrepreneur, didn't even know what the word was when I opened my gym, to falling in love with it. And it's interesting to watch myself in this whole thing and getting a nice little chuckle, because I have so many, well, most of my friends are in health and fitness. You know, one of the reasons I started the Strong Coach, you know, it really did. It came in as a what we would call like a download while in a float tank when I was on sabbatical. But it was when I looked at my life, I go, the people who I hang out with the most, the people I enjoy the most are coaches. And they're the easiest people for me to help. And if I help one coach, I help thousands of people for every coach I help. And I go, wow, if I help 1,000 coaches, what does that do? So that's how that's like my journey with falling in love with business. And now, you know, I love health. I mean, I couldn't stop myself from learning more about health and fitness if I tried. It's just automatic behavior at this point. I love it. And I'm surrounded by people in health and fitness. So it's a nice bonus, but I don't teach health and fitness much anymore. I teach business. And there was a transition. There was a period of time I was like, okay, I want 50-50 or I want 60-40. Now I'm just like, let's solve some problems.
Was that love of business why you stepped away from Barbell Shrugged?
No. I stepped away from Barbell Shrugged because, well, there was a period of time where I went into some deep introspection. So about a year before I stepped away, I went through that year, I went through a few processes. And some of the processes were just reading books and journaling. There was a couple processes I went through that were retreat style, where I went and got away and, you know, got into some deep work. One of them was a week long. That was the one the one at the end of the year that was a week long. It was in November of 2017. That really rocked me. And what I realized during that retreat is that the majority of my behavior up until that moment in time was driven by ego, a lot of fear, and you know, and a lot of like things disguised as something else. And I really sat with myself and I asked myself, like, is who I am, is what I've done, is what I've built up to this point really what I want, or is this what I think other people want from me? Is this how I'm earning love? Do I think if I become, you know, like the fittest person I can possibly be, and if I can be the best business person I can be, and I can help as many people as I can and all this, am I doing that because I think that that's how I'm going to experience love? Or Is it something I'm actually passionate about and I actually love? And I sat there and when I asked myself the question, I could not come up with the answer. I did not know. I go, I cannot guarantee to myself that I did this from love, you know? And so I was like, I don't even know if I should be a CEO of a company. I don't know if I should own my own company. You know what? I'm open to the possibility in 1 year from now that I'm just working for somebody else and living in a different place and maybe a different country. I don't know. So I sat down with my partners and said, hey man, I'm taking some time off. And they were like, what? They couldn't believe it. Cause that was not, I was behaving in a way that was completely outside of how they had experienced me up to that point. And I talked about shutting down Barbell Shrug at that point, and we found a way to keep it going. And I actually took a year off. I took off like almost a year, and I came back in to run the company a little bit. And then after that, it was last February. I was like, I'm totally out. But it was really 2.5 years ago is when I said, hey guys, I'm out. I'm not planning to come back in. And they were like, you know what, why don't you take some time off? Maybe you'll come back in. I'm like, all right, probably not, but okay. And I was ready to take the whole year off to sit with myself and go, you know what? And the thing is, I mean, I let bank accounts get small. I let things dwindle. I committed to myself that I would only act out of inspiration. Okay, I'm not interested in being acting out of desperation. And I noticed that the energy I was bringing to my business up to that point was from a place of desperation, not inspiration. Definitely inspirational moments in there, but the day-to-day was, you know, are we making enough money? You know, when the conversation centers around money, it's not good. You know, you definitely want attention there, and I'm all about making money. Don't get me wrong. I teach people how to do it, and I love doing it. But if I wake up and I'm thinking, you know, how are we going to make money today? That's a rough one. And so, yeah, I committed to only acting out of inspiration, and it only took 6 months. I thought it was going to take a year. I was ready to do a year. But 6 months later, I'm in a float tank in Austin, Texas. I'm traveling around, and it's like the message beamed in of the strong coach and how to launch it and all that kind of stuff. And it's been a really easy business to build. I actually didn't pay much attention to it for the first year. I built up the minimum viable product, created some curriculum, put a coach in place, and then started screwing off again. So I wasn't done. And it grew and had I think I spent like 3 or 4 months on it, building it up. And then I took about 6 months off, and 6 months, the 6th month that I was taking off from this business, again, while I was just doing my thing, it had a record-breaking month. So I go, oh, a business that is basically experiencing success with little effort from me, and just because it's doing a good job, I should probably let's take a closer look at this. And it was one of those things where I go, okay, I'm ready to work again. I'm ready to work.
Any regrets, Mike? So like, what was that, last February, where you're like, I'm out, I'm stepping away? If you can go back today, would you have done the same thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool story, man. I think there's a lot of things that a lot of your people pull from that, for sure. And I think people listening, it's like, you know, I think people can go too far, right? I don't think everyone should act out of inspiration. You know what I mean? Because I don't think a lot of people are capable of only acting out of inspiration if they have a lack of it. But it seems like you have a lot of it, man. So that's a good story, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. People have different, everyone has a different, what's the word I'm looking for? They have a different tolerance for that type of behavior. I don't have a wife and kid. I did have a wife, but no kids. Me taking off time, I set myself up in a way that I could be that way. And I have super high risk tolerance. Like I'll tank everything. Like it won't bother me. Like I emotionally just like I could lose it all, and emotionally I'm okay. And I realize that most people aren't that way. So yeah, you're right. Like everyone needs to work inside of their own, I tell people is, all right, it's uncomfortable, don't go beyond like 20% uncomfortable or discomfort. You're going to break yourself. We just want to we want to expand your ability to be with uncertainty little by little by little. That's what we're really talking about is people's tolerance for uncertainty or people's tolerance for perceived uncertainty. There's infinite uncertainty at all times. It's just more obvious at different moments than others. Right now, everyone's like, oh shit, there's uncertainty. I'm like, there was uncertainty 2 months ago. You just didn't know it. Like the fact this happened was uncertain.
I hope people rewind and listen to that again and get 10 to X the value of the first time they heard that, 2 seconds ago, because that is such an important statement. Both of those pieces about how they perceive uncertainty, because I've seen people go from, let's call it max fear to max opportunism in 20 seconds, if you can just shift the perception a little bit. And I don't consider that manipulating, right? I think that you help people recognize what's happening under the surface a little bit. It builds awareness. Awareness allows them to calm down. Calming down allows them to think more clearly. Thinking more clearly allows them to see in the future, which I think, if we think about your conversation today, I love the fact that you said, you say it with such simplicity as well. You just ask your clients, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you just go ask your clients. But so many people aren't asking their clients anything. And then they wonder why they struggle to market or position or have the right language, et cetera. And they're not even sure who they're working with or what the needs of those people are.
Yeah. I want to point out it's a practice. So if you go ask your clients and you don't come away with what you wanted, do it again. I've been asking my clients for a long time, and I'm still getting better at asking my clients. And I had some, I was talking to somebody yesterday and he goes, well, I interviewed my clients. I go, well, what do they want? And he goes, well, they want confidence and they want more clarity. And I go, well, what's that going to get them? Everyone wants that. And he goes, oh, I didn't ask him that. I'm like, okay, well, now you get to go back and go, why do you want, if you have more confidence, you have more clarity, how's that going to look different in your life? Like, what's the result of that? And he goes, oh, I was like, all right, go back. You got to keep digging for that big external thing that they think that confidence is going to get them. Like, confidence might get me a pay raise or confidence might get me laid. Those are usually the two things that,
yeah, man, I think it's important to understand as well. It's like we carry our experiences wherever we go, right? So kind of, your self-assessment on the whole barbell shrug thing and really looking at, what is it that you want, not what is it that you think people want from you. It's like that whole experience that you went through. I'm sure as you consult and as you have interviews with your coaches, you're using those experiences, right? Where it's like, hey, this is something I had to do to really understand what it is I was going for, what it is I was looking for. If a coach doesn't understand or they've never done that process in their own brain, there's no fucking way that they're going to sit across from a client and get them to go through that exercise because they just haven't experienced that on themselves, right? So I think it's important for coaches to do, little self-assessments and self-reflection and practice what we preach a little bit, right? And that goes outside of just fitness and air squats and shit like that. It's like, in here we have to reflect and we have to understand how we're going to get to our why or our what. So if we don't do that, there's zero chance we're going to get our clients to do that.
Yeah, I want to point out one thing I see coaches get hung up on a lot, and which is like, I want to know what my purpose is. I want to make sure that my coaching business is in alignment with my purpose. Like their purpose is something they're going to find. And I tell you, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a purpose. You have many purposes, and you may have a primary purpose that feels really inspiring right now, but it doesn't mean in 2 years it's going to shift. It won't shift. It probably will. The things I was passionate about 2 years ago. And I think that people forget that they used to be passionate about something. And what you're talking about, Carl, is having that introspection, having that time of reflection, if done infrequently, it sneaks up on you. And one day you wake up and you go, oh, I hate my life. I'm like, well, it's because you haven't been reflecting. You could have been making those adjustments the whole time. And that's what happened with me with Barbell Shrugged, was I wasn't making those adjustments over time. And I built this brand that was going this direction and I was going this direction. So I had to step away. But if I had done a good job of shaping the brand to what I was passionate about over time, I probably could have molded it much, much better. And it wouldn't have had to have been so traumatic for me and other people to do that, to make that transition. So I definitely like to help people with that and highlight, your mind changes. Hopefully we don't want it to stay the same. And that may mean that you realize that what you used to love may not be the same thing. And sometimes it means completely stepping away from something. And sometimes it means, hey, let's have more awareness and just shape things as we go.
Let me ask you one more question, Mike. What are you most passionate about now? What are you learning right now that you're really, really intrigued by?
Right now I'm having to check myself, because what I'm witnessing is, in this current situation, is a massive amount of opportunity popping up. There's like, oh, opportunity here. It's like, oh, I could go make money in a lot of different places. I could help a lot of people in a lot of different places right now. And I'm actually having to tell myself, chill out, relax. Let's keep watching, because what seemed like an opportunity last week isn't as big of an opportunity this week. Things are moving really, really quick. So that's happening. So I'm checking myself. What was the question again?
Yeah. So what are you passionate about? What are you intrigued to learn right now?
Right now, as of this morning, I was journaling, and I really passionate about getting my own house in order better. I'm witnessing, so I'm seeing all this different opportunity. I'm seeing all these different opinions. One week things are in the world are this way. Another week things are another way in the world. And it's like, whoa, like, what's going on? And I'm realizing, oh, if I want to take advantage of any opportunities, even if the best one was laid out in front of me right now, there are things in my business that still need to get done. There are things in my personal life that I need to get complete. There's just stuff that needs to, I need to get my house in order to really see what's happening next. So what I've been really passionate about the last couple months is like, how do I'm in this problem solving conversation and getting my clients to realize, hey, we're solving problems, and like, we're just one big problem solving machine. And so I'm passionate about that, but I'm also sitting with, where do I have to be personally so that I can show up as good as possible? And so really getting present to, okay, I got to get clean. So get my physical space clean, get my physical body clean, my emotional body clean, my mental body clean, get these things clean so that when something is asked of me, I can show up. So that's where the passion's at right now.
Have you ever read The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt?
No.
That might be one you might really enjoy. I've found so much interesting stuff in that. And when you said the word clean, that kind of made me think about one of the concepts that he talks about. But that was a great book.
The Righteous Mind.
The Righteous Mind. Yeah, I really like his stuff, just generally speaking. He's got 3 kind of main books that he has out. But Mike, thanks so much for coming on today, man. I really appreciate it. And thanks, Carl, for asking great questions.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Where can people find you, Mike?
thestrongcoach.com if you're a coach and want to do that. And if you want to follow me personally, and I go to Instagram, Mike_Bledsoe. I put rants on there. I answer DMs. I'll market to you occasionally, all that.
Gotta love it, man. Everybody's got to be prepared for that now, I think.
That's right.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Mike. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having me.
buddy. Appreciate it, man. Stay safe.